go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers obviously are coming off their greatest offensive performance of the season with Mason Rudolph leading them to a massive dub over the Cincinnati Bengals in Acrisure Christmas weekend. Now, they were playing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very strong arm when he played before. He might have sucked, but he's great now. That's what they were playing afterwards in Acrisure. Yeah. Okay, full character arc for Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh. From saying this guy needs to be out of town, he's not supposed to be in Pittsburgh, this guy sucks, to actually the entire stadium chanting for him, and then him showing up and having a record day, and George Pickens having his best day, and Jalen Moore and blowing people up, and the defense doing their thing, and the Pittsburgh Steelers looking like a kind of a good football team for the first time, long time. Now they're in playoff conversations, cemented back in it. They might have Defensive Player of the Year and TJ Watt, who leads everything.
Or
but
Comeback Player of the Year.
Who's going to be starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, let's hear Mike Tomlin at a press conference talking about both Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett potentially being available.
Same position with Kenny as we were last week. We'll give him a few reps and kind of see where that leads us. But just as I said a week ago in this setting, Mason Rudolph was scheduled to be the quarterback for the week, and we'll see where Kenny is. We have the same mentality as we start this week. Obviously, we have a great deal more comfort because of what we've seen in stadium from Mason Rudolph, and that helps us. But we still really are in the same posture. He's got the ball to start the week, and we'll see where Kenny is from a mobility perspective, and then kind of go from there and plan day by day based on the things that we see from that perspective.
So Coach Tomlin, obviously a phenomenal quote every single time. He took me on a ride there. There was a couple times I'm like, Mason Rudolph's the starter. Kenny Pickett's going to be the starter.
Hold on.
Mason Rudolph's got the ball. That's our posture. Okay. Now we're here. Didn't really give any answers. But what I think I heard was if Kenny Pickett can move well and he looks like he's 100% back, maybe Kenny Pickett will get a little bit more of an opportunity. But instead, Mason Rudolph's going to go. Let's hear from Kenny Pickett on how this entire injury and sitting out has gone and what his thoughts are on the Mason Rudolph-led Pittsburgh Steelers.
Do you feel like you would have to be 100% to be able to go on Sunday?
No, that's not my call. That's the trainer's call.
Having the chance to step back and be on the sidelines and see the game from a different perspective, has it allowed you to see anything different, learn anything, and take some lessons from it?
No.
Okay.
Straight Zach Wilson. No. I love that.
Me too, Chuck.
Oh.
Whoa.
Tone Diggs,
Oh, my God.
what did you hear there from Kenny Pickett, and what do you expect this weekend from the quarterback position for the Steelers?
I showed it to you yesterday as soon as I heard it, and I said I love that from Kenny Pickett. Like, I mean, the guy had to deal with one of the most buffoon OCs of all time, entire year, okay? Matt Canada.
This year's Patricia.
Guy gets fired. Kenny in the next game, they go over 400 yards. He has his best game. They're letting him throw the ball down the middle of the field. Everything's great. He then gets hurt. Mitch comes in, stinks, absolutely stinks. And then Mason comes in and plays well. And now Kenny's like, I just had the best game I've ever had because, they finally let me do things, and now I get hurt. And now Mason's in a quarterback. He's obviously frustrated, and he's a gamer. He wants to play. So I loved that from Kenny. As far as who's playing this weekend, I don't care who. I don't care which one it is. I just want to get out there and get a W. Okay.
What does Pittsburgh want? They want Rudolph, I'd assume.
I think right now they're leaning that way.
Yeah. What have you done for me lately?
Wow.
Rudolph was throwing the ball all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think they forgot how good Kenny was
I
post
think
Matt Canada. I think there's a lot of people remembering what Kenny Pickett had been with the
Yes,
Pittsburgh
I agree.
Steelers, which is not a fantastic offense. And you see Mason Rudolph do what he does during the holiday season. It's like Rudolph literally brought happiness again to the city of Pittsburgh.
They're also forgetting, 3 years ago when Mason played, he had some bad games. So, time cures all in that situation. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I prefer Kenny because, he's got to use the first-round pick.
Chuck, what was that face whenever you go, what are you saying?
It's one game. We're ready to put him in the hall.
Who?
Thank you, Chuck.
Flacco?
Rudolph.
Chuck.
Oh, you believe in Kenny?
No, the more let him go out there and start in that damn chaotic atmosphere in Seattle. They play Seahawks, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the road. Their biggest problem is going to be this, is like, Kenny's pissed, right? Don't ask me that frickin' question ever again. Like we'd all be like, If you're a competitor, you want to go right over the podium and knock that dude out, whoever or woman or whoever asked the question.
Well, we don't want to miss.
But
Delta.
if he's healthy, all right, if he's healthy, you can't lose your job because of injury.
I've seen a lot of people do that.
Yeah, James Winston.
Yeah, that's all. That's all lip
Technically,
service.
right?
That's all lip service.
Technically.
we all understand in 2023.
But he's your
that-
he's your starting quarterback, right? And he gets injured. This guy comes in. I'm healthy, so if he's healthy and wants to go, that's the tough decision for Coach T and the rest of the
Who was it in
organization.
Dallas last year?
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush came in. And like Dak, was he healthy? Was
What a
he not
hilarious
healthy?
storyline.
Each week it was like a conversation like, yeah, if Dak's healthy enough, he'll certainly go. Cooper Rush is getting the start, and then hot. And then there's a little bit of a shelf life
Yep.
to the
Bingo.
to the Cooper Cush entire thing. And then Dak came back. It was like it was almost like the football gods were like, here you go. Now Tomlin has a starting quarterback, who just played his best ball. That's his last taste of his mouth, coming back from an injury. And he's like, trainer's going to have to say I'm good to go, but I'm not going to have to be 100%, which is kind of what Aaron was saying.
Yeah.
Whenever, if they were still in playoff contention, because the Steelers definitely are still in the entire thing. So it's like the football gods, like let's say they rest Kenny Pickett one more week. Mason Rudolph goes out and kills it again.
Well, then you got to stick with the hot hand. Then spend 2 games.
Have to. In Seattle, too.
Nightmare.
But
What
then,
a scene. I'm happy.
Nightmare,
I'm
but
not
then-
over there. That's a former head coach right there thinking to himself, like, Tomlin has to be thinking to himself, have I not gone through enough? Has there
No,
not
the
been?
worst thing happened to him. This kid went out and balled out and threw a 5-yard route that went 86.
Whoa, one of them.
Hey, listen.
What about the other one down the sideline?
it was a
Couple
slant.
deep shots.
Chuck does not believe in Mason Rudolph, it sounds like.
But in
all
that
avoid
situation you're talking
played
about with
against them.
Rodgers too, like has Kenny's play dictated this year where it's like, hey, even if he's only 70%, like we got like especially after how Mason played. Like I understand he's the starting quarterback, but it's not like you're putting a 75% Aaron Rodgers out there. Like it's a 70% Kenny Pickett.
Mason Rudolph came out and said the quarterback room is good.
Yeah, great on the
better than
sideline.
previous quarterback rooms he's been in. He must have
Bit
been
of a
talking about
shot.
Oklahoma State, obviously.
Oh, really?
Awesome.
Yeah, he was talking about Oklahoma State.
Big Ben, I feel like took a couple ricochets.
Well, yeah, but we don't know if he was talking about that.
No.
He could have been talking about that. Oklahoma State had a bunch of competitors in that quarterback.
Dawes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They all wanted a
Don't
job.
go after Ben.
Gundy's showing him news.
Not the first time
channels.
he's done it.
Thank you, Chuck.
What was
Don't go after Ben.
I'm not going after him. I'm just saying I thought.
No,
that-
I'm saying whoever said whatever.
Yeah.
Mason.
You were just,
that? Yeah, because Ben will get down in that basement. He'll be sitting there with Spank,
Yep.
and he will just say, "Hey, listen, you need to."
Shut up.
Yeah. Why don't you just pipe down, old man?
He said, "I got respect." Okay,
said flapping him gums.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're better than that.
you're right. He was like disappointed.
better.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was just sawing
No.
you down. He was disappointed in you. Hey, we love you, Seven.
Love you, Seven.
Bummed out.
Love you,
My
Seven.
ass.